Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today that was cute, on October 18th, 2021 at approximately 6:36 a.m. PST. Well, as we can see, today's going to start off a little strange, but I got a message from somebody the other day that was absolutely brilliant. Okay, I have a tendency to get caught up in loops just like everybody else. Okay, in bad patterns, in things I shouldn't be doing. Okay, and like everybody else, and to the person that sent the message that is directly related to this, thank you very much. Okay, it was funny. They left a message that basically said I've been repeating myself, which does have its purpose. However, if it's always the same message, you're going to ignore it most of the time, or it will start falling on deaf ears. And they did point out a very important factor. And that is, if you're always saying the same thing, it doesn't give you much reason to continue going down that road. Been there, done that. Which, in a lot of cases, is all too true. But, to that end, it was funny, because I responded to that to start with, and then got another message back that they were glad that we didn't take it the wrong way. As a matter of fact, we took it very much to heart. Hopefully this works. But it still comes down to the same thing. And before I get into this, if you like the video, absolutely give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel, because it's time to really get down to work and stay focused on it. But I returned to this lifetime for one purpose, and that was to pass on a very simple message. That is that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. And like you, I require assistance, which is where this person that sent me the message came in. Okay. Every now and then, can we try English? I am very much focused on correcting the way life is working. Okay, and it does boil down to get the energy in your own lane, your own body working, get the energy in your own home working, and then start working on society. Now, the reality is, if you're aiming at getting a bunch of bubbles happening in water, you can throw one pebble at a time, and you can change the way the world is running, one person at a time. The funny thing is, I don't have that big of a following right now. Like, I don't have millions of subscribers. But about 3 months ago, I started talking about this issue that people are posting all this negative stuff. Now, the reality of that is they were. And I could go back over that, but here's the thing. By putting these videos out and by getting the message out there, whether I've got a whole pile of subscribers or not is not the issue. The issue is the message getting out. And what I'm finding on the net more and more frequently now is more people are focusing on the benefits, the people helping people, animals helping animals, people helping animals, animals helping people. I mean, you get the picture. Okay. So where we have to start is with this, or where we've started so many times it's insane, but here's the funny part there is this. Every single time you wake up, and this doesn't mean just in the morning, you take a nap, you wake up, it's the start of a new day for you. Regardless of what the clock says, we are all in exactly the same place. We are right here, right now, and this is the only time in existence that you can change anything. You can postpone it until whenever you choose to. Okay, put my coffee on the wrong side. You can postpone stuff until tomorrow, the next day, next week, whatever. Okay, but the reality of it is, when you started it, it is still right here, right now. And we all have the same root. We're all born, we all come into existence. As far as humans go, we all have parents. Whether you know who they are, whether you're actually a natural conception, as in two people get together, or in vitro fertilization, or a complete test tube baby, it doesn't matter. you've still got parents. Because the human genome requires a male and female chromosome. Okay, it requires them, or you're just plain not there. So regardless of where you are right now, regardless of how you got here, okay, we're starting from the same place, right here, right now. Now, I keep talking about putting a list together to make sure things happen. And that's still very much the case. For me, it works like a charm. If you can keep it straight in your own head, great. I use pen and paper because I can't accidentally delete it. And Lord knows if you use a computer, accidentally deleting things does happen. Which reminds me, I've got to back up a bunch of files. But that's okay. Starting right now, okay, I got accused a while ago by somebody. I was suggesting a few years back, I was suggesting people get, excuse me, I hate the hiccups. This is a live recording, by the way, which means when I get done the recording, I will simply go back, double check, make sure I got the date right, and double check the time, make sure it's done. Other than that, I post it as is. All the hiccups, all the twists, all the, everything going on from that end. Now, the neat part about it is that when you get started, when you get an idea in your head and you get moving with it, okay, we have to start at the same place. So I got accused, lost track. I got accused of being literally the problem of being part of the major part of the problem of this planet. As in, I was literally told, it's people like you suggesting we get along that are causing the problem. You people starting cults that say, go out and, get along. You're starting a cult, and that's the problem. Well, I'm here to tell you, I had a problem. I was told one day, if you really want to start something, start a religion. And Lord knows there's people that are taking a religion, and I'm not talking about one religion. I see this in every one of the religions. They'll take the baseline and go, I'm going to change this a little bit, and we're going to call it a new religion. Just tack on a new thing. And I've always been adverse to that. Okay, so I got thinking about it and went, if telling people to be nice to each other, to work with each other, to encourage each other, if that is a cult, let's get at her. Okay, let's start a cult. And make that cult simply the idea of getting along. Regardless of what you call God, regardless of what you call your spiritual guide, God, goddess, mother, father, I don't care. It's another word. Now, decades ago, and I should probably repost this, which I think I will. Okay. And I'm just making a note for myself here. Today, I'm going to post a note, or a poem I wrote a long time ago. It was my own poem. Okay, it's already been published once. But it's a poem that literally says words and emotions. And I will post that today after I get this video done. Okay, as a matter of fact, I may, if I can figure out how to do it. Actually, that's a brilliant idea. If I tag it on to the end of the writing at the bottom of this video. Okay. At the bottom of the video, you'll find a whole pile of places where you can reach me if you've got a question for me, if you've got a topic you desire to deal with. Okay, that you don't want the rest of the world to know you're asking. Drop me a line at one of the contact points below. A lot of the information I've got, I have already put in little booklets. Just looking for this one. Nope, not that one. This one here. This one here, called Believe in Yourself and Follow Your Dreams. A lot of the information I talked about is already in that in point form. If you're looking to get a hold of any of the booklets I've written, okay, you can look at the list below this video as well. That will tell you what those lists are, what those books are, and how to get a hold of them. Okay. But below that, I'm going to today, and this is why I just made a note for myself. Below the list of contact points, I'm going to add on the poem I'm referring to, which is called Words and Emotions. Okay, because it doesn't matter what you call it. William Shakespeare said it this way: a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Okay, and it's absolutely right. So what you want to call something doesn't matter. Okay, it matters in as much as if you're calling it somebody that nobody recognizes, you may have to explain it. Like, for instance, because I also deal with UFOs, alien technologies, and that sort of thing, I told somebody, I made a comment about the star drives and about the visibility of them. And what I said was, once you understand the oscillar densification of the tri-transdensational equilaterity, it's easy to understand it. But you've got to take the fractal inversion into consideration first. Now, I am not a scientist, so I do not know if these are the words that are actually used. But after an hour and a half, almost 2 hours of talking to somebody that did have the training, we came to an understanding of what I was referring to. So if you're using words people don't understand or don't recognize, you may find you have to explain them. Okay, which is why I do my best to keep things simple. And why, instead of repeatedly saying, when you're referring to God or your spiritual guide, whether it's source or what have you, there are a lot of different names. Okay, a lot of different words you can use to explain it. Go ahead, as long as you understand where it's coming from. Okay, from your standpoint, it really boils down to this: do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. So if we're going to start a cult, call it a cult. Call it a movement. Call it a revelation. Give it a name you'd like. The point being, get out there and start treating people the way you personally desire to be treated. And ask yourself, when you're dealing with people, is the way you're dealing with them, is it a way you would appreciate being dealt with? Okay, which is where this idea of minimize the negative and maximize the positive comes in. Okay, and yes, I'm going to give a pat on the back to that person once again, because they really made a very very good point from my standpoint. Okay, now I could take it very wrong, and I could have done the idea of, oh, they don't like me, therefore I'm just going to stop. Well, I'm not going to stop. Rest assured on that. If anything, this gave me a much better focus on what I'm aiming at. We are starting right here, right now. Doesn't matter what day, doesn't matter what video, we're always starting the same place. And how you got to where you are is not the relevant concern. Aside from it paints a whole picture for yourself and whatever you choose to share of that for the people around you as to how you got to where you are. But how you got there does not mean that's where you have to stay. Okay. Now, there's a lot of examples I can give you on things that can happen. But how about if we start with the basics? Take a look in the mirror and ask yourself one little question. Are you content with the way your life is going right here, right now? It's probably easier, I know it's easier for me, to identify what I'm not content with than it is to figure out what I may be content with 10 years down the road. Lord knows, when I started this journey, when I started the first video I did on March 6th of 2021, okay, I did not have any clue where this was going. I didn't even know if I'd make it more than 3 or 4 episodes. Well, here I am. Where are we now? October 10th, so March being the 3rd. Here we are over 7 months later, and still picking up speed. Okay, now, with the journey, there's a very simple message. And this is a message that has to get out, in my opinion, to the entire world. Okay, not just the people on video. Okay, not just the people that can see me directly. The idea is for you to hopefully, and apparently it's working to a degree, take this message to the people around you. Okay, if you're running a household, make sure if you lay out rules, absolutely, but follow those rules yourself. Now, I agree with you. Kids at a younger age, need more sleep. But what people don't get, okay, the family unit has fractured badly. And even with that, with the book that I'm reading right now, with the I Want to Know parental guide, Even then, it was written back in the 70s. And even then, they said the family unit was fracturing. In today's world, it's fracturing even more. Okay, but this was all warned in the past. And I'm not talking about centuries ago. Well, in this case, I really am. Einstein made a comment back in the early 19th century that when technology gets to a certain level, we are the way he put it is we're going to be living in a society of idiots. Now, I'm paraphrasing, okay, but his point was as technology takes over more and more, people's motivation, people's focus is going to collapse. People's ability to communicate is going to collapse. Okay, nowadays, people are even talking in short form. I've literally heard people go LOL while they're talking instead of actually laughing. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this is getting away from the whole feel of it. Okay, there is a very big difference between somebody going, saying something and going LOL, or actually busting out laughing. A very big difference. Okay, but communication is one of these things that happens as society evolves. Now, this does not mean technology is a bad thing, but we are starting in a place where it's gotten to a point. I hate that word. I don't like using it, but we have arrived at a point where people have lost a lot of the motivation there. So they seem to be so caught up in immediate gratification that they're forgetting about the joy of the journey. They're forgetting about the trip. It's not the destination, because here's the long and the short of it. Destination, you're going to die. Okay. But the fact that you're going to die, you can live in fear of that. Okay, you can spend your life worrying about whether you're going to die or not. I'll clear that up. You will. Some of us will die more often than others. Okay. And I'm talking this lifetime. But on the whole, the long and short of your journey in life is you do a whole bunch of stuff and you die. Immortality is not achieved by living forever, although I still have every intention of bringing my health around with the idea. Whether I'll pull this off or not, I don't know yet, and I can't know for a few years. Because I personally decided decades ago that I desire to see the 22nd century in a functional version of this body. In other words, still able to take care of myself, still able to think, still able to keep moving forward. Okay. Now, yes, I'm 58 years old now. To get to the 22nd century, I'm going to have to be 139 years old. 139. So that's a few years down the road. Whether I make it or not is anybody's guess. Okay, I'll know when I get there. I figure at this point, if I wake up in the morning, I'm not pushing daisies, I'm ahead of the game. Okay, we all have our own goals, our own desires. Now, the way to achieve those is one step at a time and reaching out and working with the people that you're around. You desire to bring the crime rate in your neighborhood down? Get to know your neighbors. Get to know who they are. Watch out for each other. Stick out a hand and help somebody. I was heading out I was coming home from an errand the other day, and a young lass of somewhere in her mid-80s was trying to get her garbage out, and she was still capable of getting her garbage out to the garbage can. But all I did was I'll just take it out for you. My bad leg was working, so I just took the garbage from her and took it out instead. It does not mean she wasn't capable. It means I simply gave her a hand. Help the people around you. Okay. And this does not mean put yourself in danger. Okay. There are many times when that just doesn't work well. Okay. But with that in mind, some people have taken on a profession that does put them in danger. When you need help, they come rushing in. Okay. And that's fantastic. Those people need a pat on the back. Those are also what are known as your first responders. Okay. But here's the neat little thing. where it comes to first responders, when we're talking about vehicle accidents, how can you help them the most? Pay attention when you're driving. Drive properly, drive responsibly. Don't get into accidents. Okay, now accidents will happen anyway. You can drive as safely as you choose to. If you blow a tire, it's going to go. Okay, but speeding to get where you're going, tailgating, cutting people off because you're in a hurry and didn't leave yourself enough time, that's not helping. Okay, you want to help the first responders, thank them when you get a chance to. Okay, and I'm not talking just the first responders. I'm talking your first responders, your frontline health workers, your teachers, the people that are helping you take care of your kids, or if you don't have kids, helping you take care of society. Okay, those are the people to be thanked. If you're an accountant and you're doing your job right, and you're making the best move for your client, and bear in mind, that's something you got to remember. See, when you're working for a company, as anybody, okay, if you're working for a company, you have two responsibilities. One, do your job the way it was laid out for you. Two, understand the company has to make money. Okay, but that doesn't mean you have to treat the customer like garbage. And if you're the customer, yes, prices may be higher than what you desire. They may have stipulations you don't like about the place. Don't go there. You're not the only person on the planet. But treat people the way you desire to be treated. Okay, I finally figured out, I've been trying to figure out why it is my temperature runs so high, but I finally figured it out. And it was just a funny, I can't remember what video, oh, I do remember what video it was. I was watching a news report on a medical procedure, and it dawned on me why my temperature runs as high as it does. Okay, now, my temperature runs a little higher than normal. But what it does is when your temperature runs high, it's burning out illness. Now, does that work? Well, I don't know. I'm sweating like a stuck pig here. But the funny part is, does a higher temperature work? You figure it out. Aside from a heart attack and a stroke and 2 minor infections in my teeth, I haven't been ill in 25 years. My temperature has been running at a staggering level all along. I only sleep between 4 and 6 hours a night. Okay, and that's getting better. I woke up this morning, and after that message from that one individual, and this is why I said it was such a bonus getting a message like that. They called it constructive criticism. I call it an absolute godsend. Okay, it's kind of like when I had my stroke. My little brother had a stroke earlier, and he called it a stroke of luck because it forced him to slow down a little. In my case, it really put things in perspective. Okay, so when I had the stroke, yeah, I've lost certain things, and I still struggle with my left hand. I'll get over it, or more to the point, I'll gain control of it eventually. Of course, gravity works, which is a pain in the neck on occasion. But just think what would happen if gravity didn't work. You let go of your pencil, it hits the roof. I can see a problem there. Anyway, we are starting right here, right now. Really take a look at your health. Now, the medication, if you're on medication from a doctor's prescription, 2 major things. 1, do not just up and stop it. Even if you don't like it, do your research. Check and make sure the medication is doing what it should do. And if you're on more than one medication, check and make sure that that medication is not crossing over and causing a problem with another one. Now, I caution you, Google is not the place to take a diagnosis from. It is a good place to go and get an idea. But when you get the idea, go to a trained professional. Go to a pharmacist. Go to your doctor. Double check what you found on the net with them. They're the ones that have been trained. They're the ones that have taken the time to go and get educated on it. Now, you can do it the hard way. Okay, but here's the thing. Pick up the information off Google and go, I'm going to try this method because I think it's a good idea. Okay, you're one person. The doctors have dealt with multiple people with similar situations in most cases. Okay, and it boils down to numbers. If you can test yourself and find out if it works, that's great. But the doctors have already tested a number of people. Like, for instance, we know that there are certain things that are very natural, but that are highly, highly, highly toxic. The doctors found this out by a number of people dying from taking the same stuff, usually by accident. Okay, now you can test them all out yourself, not a good idea. Go talk to the doctor. They've got a much wider database. When I talk to people and tell them I've dealt with about 80,000 clients, that's because I've personally talked to about that many. Okay, that's not because it's just a number I pulled out of the hat. I can actually give you the mathematics for it. You figure it out. I'm not going to calculate it right now, but somebody sent me a message the other day. They actually did the calculation. Maybe even been the same person, but when you find something is off kilter, you're not happy. If you're on medication, stay on it until you get your body turned around where your body doesn't require the same medication. Okay. Now, by doing that, turn around and check your diet. Talk to a dietitian, and I will tell you, from my experience, talking to the dietitians that deal with diabetes, they are some of the best trained people on the market. Or your diabetic dietitians, your herbalists, your naturopaths. These people are the ones that look at the herbs that are growing. Okay, those are the people that you want to talk to. They're the ones that have gone through the testing of multiple. They've got the data from multiple people. Okay, so start with yourself. If you're not content with the way your life is going, start with you. Start with your health. Okay. I will tell you, I've dropped 40 pounds and I feel phenomenal compared to what I felt when I was, 40 pounds heavier. Some of you will have trouble with that. But I will tell you what worked for me like an absolute charm, and this is just what I did. I cut out most of my bread, most of my pasta, and most of my sugar. Okay. And I swapped over to just eating a half cup of oatmeal a morning, every 2 or 3 mornings, actually, along with a handful of blueberries. My blood pressure dropped down to a normal level. My weight dropped, and I had the energy to start exercising properly. Net result is my life has changed dramatically. Now, I'm going to leave this off here, and I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.